Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. Tony here, Tony's LPSRUS. We're with Big John again. And this is part 2 of John and I showing some of our collection. We're at a different location. We're outside, we're upstate New York. So we both traveled from separate ways. And we met, we brought some albums. We brought stuff that, you know, it's kind of odds and ends. I picked up some Japanese pressings, as John did. I also are going to show some promos, some bootlegs, a picture disc, and just some things that you don't normally see, such as this one, Paul McCartney and Wings, bootleg, Paul McCartney live. There's the label, pretty cool. You can see it's almost like a Xerox cover, and there's the back. It's just a white back, I believe, unless, oh no, it does have a actual back jacket with the band, very flimsy. So I just wanted to show that. Pretty cool.
That's a bootleg import, I think. Let's
yeah, it might be. It might be.
That looks like it might have been made outside of the country. That looks like a
UK import or UK bootleg?
Yeah, that's not. That's not an American-made record.
Right. So that was pretty cool.
It's still a bootleg,
right?
though.
And then I picked up this because it's autographed. Everyone knows Al Martino from the first Godfather movie. He played the you know, the singer who was godson to Don Corleone, got him a job in that picture, that war picture. Kind of traces a story, like a Frank Sinatra story, if you know this, but I thought this was cool, a great autograph by Al Martino. He autographed quite a bit. I think I have another copy somewhere, a different album that was autographed in one of the casinos. So in here, we're talking about Sinatra, I brought this because this is the first press of this album, Songs for Swinging Lovers, the concept album. You know, Frank was big on concept records. And this you can see is Frank's pointing the wrong way. He's supposed to be looking at the couple. The next pressings on this, Frank is actually looking at the couple that is swinging. So I just thought I brought this along.
And also, this is autographed by Gwendolyn.
Yeah, that's autographed by
Gwendolyn,
yeah,
whoever that
yeah,
is.
Yeah. Gwen was a Bobby Soxer. She probably saw Frank in New York City. I picked up this because I've never seen anyone show this, but John was with me when I got this.
Yeah,
this is a great box set. It has everything Buddy Holly ever did.
To Long Island one time to visit my parents, and
during yard sale season.
And Rockville Center. And the only time I went hunting for albums as yard sales at Rockville Center.
And what year was that about? That was 20 years ago, right?
Probably more than that. 1994.
Yeah, that was. And what I pay? Like $4, $2.
You paid $5 for that, and I also found a copy of U2 Rattle and Hum.
Right,
with the 45.
Yeah, with the 40. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah,
we bought it at that yard sale.
Yeah, this is a nice one. This is a what'd you say, John? This is a Holland pressing.
A Dutch pressing.
Dutch pressing.
It's a 1977 release.
This is a Jubilee special, 100 years of vinyl, and that's a great label. What label is that? Polyphone.
This is an EMI label. What's interesting is you see that 1877 logo in 1977? That was only on Columbia pressings in the U.S., but because it's a Dutch pressing, they put it on there. It's not even Columbia, it's an EMI Parlophone pressing.
And you know what I always find fascinating on this? If you look at the back of the tracks, you see something odd. McCartney, Lennon, McCartney, Lennon, McCartney, Lennon, not Lennon and McCartney.
So they
very rare. They switched it later. I don't know what the legalities are. I talked about it once before. So you have Love Me Do, McCartney, Lennon. Do You Want to Know a Secret, McCartney, Lennon. What's it? Misery, McCartney, Lennon. So pretty cool. I don't know what happened in that publishing situation, but you know, Paul actually asked Yoko if they could go back to that, I believe, on certain records, and Yoko and the Lennon estate denied that request. This is a nice one, talking about Paul again and the Beatles. I found this at a thrift shop, not a thrift shop because it was pretty expensive for a thrift shop. I think I paid $10. I don't really like going there because they have a great collection of records, but what they do is when you bring the records up to the counter, they look them up on eBay and they give you like a mean price.
Oh.
So I'm going, I don't like that. Either price it, but don't price it for eBay. You're not eBay. You're selling it in a store for whatever. But this is cool. This is called Japanese Tears. This is about the time when Paul got busted in Japan for having marijuana in his suitcase.
Band on the Run era, 1976.
Yeah, and actually had to cancel the tour. So Japanese Tears, and Paul and Linda are on this record, as are most of Wings. So I'll just show the label. This actually needs to be repressed. This is a poor sonic record. It doesn't have the dynamics I wish it did, because it's pretty long. I think it's over, I'm saying 25 minutes a side or so from what I remember, but it's on the Tacoma label.
Oh.
So I wanted to pick this up. It's Fiji Plus. I actually paid $8, and like I said, it's a bad recording. Really needs to be redone. So that's my notes there, $8. So I was happy to get that for $8. John, you want to talk about this one? You got me this.
Yeah, this is a Vinyl Garage. I have a copy of this, and of course, to fill the quota to keep the shipping down, I bought him a copy, and I managed to find 2 copies that had the Obi strip, and that was from that same era where Paul McCartney.
Of course, Shirley Bass. You had the great Talk of the Town from London Town. Tom Jones also recorded a great live album here. You got me this one as well for Christmas.
I bought this in Japan. Remember last year, I did a bunch of Japanese pressings. This is one of the Japanese pressings that I bought. I didn't want to tell Tony, so we're going to talk about it now. It's the Talk of the Town.
And this, actually, John got me this as well.
Okay. This, I believe, is a French bootleg, but it has the butcher cover.
So we need this. And I think it's colored vinyl.
It's on red vinyl,
And here's the letter, which I copied, that the distributors and the stores got from Capitol, that they were withdrawing this record because they said public sentiment wasn't what they expected. Well, what do you think? What year was this, 66?
1966.
Yeah, 1966. I don't think sentiment. So this is June 14th, 1966. It's a recall letter.
And it's a French...
Beautiful orange vinyl.
Yeah.
It's a marble orange. I would have thought red would have been more apropos.
You know, I think my copy is red.
Your copy's red, okay.
Actually, your copy is much nicer than mine.
Oh, thank you. Want to trade?
No, that's all right.
All right.
But I got you this. I wanted you to have a butcher cover.
I needed a butcher cover, and I'm still looking for the Holy Grail. That's great.
Yeah,
I still want a butcher cover.
So that's the best we could do for now. It's still a great record. It sounds nice.
And this one is a Japanese pressing. It has all the inserts, but it doesn't have an obi. But
I bought one for me, too.
I got this for a friend. You didn't give me this. I got this from somebody else.
Really?
With Japanese pressing.
I bought one for me.
Yeah.
I thought I gave you one of those.
Maybe I have 2 then. This is made in Japan, EMI, Apple. This one's cool because this is an original Ravi Shankar on Capitol, probably a rainbow Capitol, I would imagine, back in the day. Has a different inner. It's a wrong inner. Capitol, look at that. Really nice condition. We love Ravi, George Harrison, rest in peace. Is Ravi still alive?
No, I don't think so.
No. And John, talking about this one. This is a reissue that I got from Peter. Thank you, Peter, out there, one of my buddies.
Oh, yeah, this is a Spanish pressing.
That's a Spanish pressing, yeah.
Wax time. They do a nice job.
Yeah.
They do a nice
job.
So
this sounds pretty good. This is a 180. And I thought it was a reissue of this, but then when I compared them, some of the tracks are different. So, but this was recorded in 59 originally, so this was a little later. This is the 60s. This is a good one that was very desirable the time that George was recording and the Beatles had just broken up, because this was produced by George. This is Shankar, Family and Friends. It's almost like YouTube, not YouTube, PayPal. Family and Friends. That means if you don't like it, you're stuck with it. Family and Friends. George Harrison, produced, and this was recorded at the record plant in L.A. Dark Horse Records.
Now, Ravi Shankar's famous family produced Norah Jones. Norah Jones is
That's a good point. Yeah,
is
you're
the
right.
daughter of Ravi Shankar.
Yeah, you're right. This is beautiful.
That's a
Look at that
beautiful
insert.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I maybe played this record once. I think it's on Apple, is it?
No, it's on probably
It's on
Dark Horse.
Dark Horse. He has a Dark Horse inner.
That's a gorgeous label.
Dark Horse inner and the Dark Horse label.
Yeah.
So they're really happy to have that in shrink. This is just something I pulled because we're doing a lot of Beatles and Wings, and this is a McCartney interview album, still in shrink. When interview albums were all the talk of the town. This is on Columbia, probably orange, right? Columbia, red Columbia with the chrysalis plastic inner. It's not accurate.
Which is unusual because McCartney had nothing to do with Columbia Records in the U.S. other than
Well, no, he did. They
until
sold
later on.
the rights. Right, yeah.
Until he sold
Well, that's
the
what
rights
this
for a
was.
brief period. Then
Yeah.
they went back to
Right. Now, this is
Capital.
a cool one, John. You probably know more about this one. This is the Savage Young Beatles with Pete Best. And on the back, it says pre-Ringo with handsome Pete Best. And Pete Best, in this year, 2025, at the age of 83, Pete Best retired from performing.
Yeah.
And I met Pete Best, and on one of my videos just recently about Anthology, I said it was 30 years ago today that Pete Best finally got paid, because when Anthology was released 30 years ago, the Anthology series, Pete was featured in those early recordings, so Pete Best finally got paid. We all know the Pete Best story, but he did have nice hair. And this is a rare shot I haven't seen too often. And this is on Savage Records. Let me see what the label looks like.
It's a yellow label. I looked at it before. Oh no, orange.
Orange label.
Orange label.
Germany, 1961.
They-
Great album.
They released it.
Is this the same with Tony Sheridan?
Yeah, the Hamburg sessions.
Right.
I have a Japanese and a German pressing of that, and a U.S. pressing of that.
And John, why don't you
they're all
talk
different
about that one?
Live Peace Toronto. Oh, this is a magical record. I found a guy in Texas who was selling albums, Japanese pressings, and I said I needed some. I had to give Tony something, so
I have a copy of this domestically, which is not. This is in near mint condition. Mine is VG. It covers kind of VG, but they need to remaster this if it's possible. This was a real raw record, and as John said when he opened it up, we're only doing songs that we know. There was no rehearsal. Clapton was called in at the last minute, and I think they actually rehearsed on the plane going over to Toronto. But Live Piece of Toronto, Blue Suede Shoes, Money, Dizzy Miss Lizzie, Your Blues, Cold Turkey, Give Peace a Chance, Don't Worry Kyoko, Mommy's Only Looking for Her Hand in the Snow, John, Let's Hope for Peace, and Claus Vorman, Alan White, Clapton, and of course the Ocean Queen, the Ocean Child, and John Winston, Yoko Ono. And talk about that one.
Okay. What's cool about this album is whatever country it was released in, it was released on the original label.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah. So in the U.S., it was released on the original Beatles Rainbow Capital label, but on Japan, it was released on the Black Odeon label.
Did not know that.
And this is one of those albums that I had to make a quota for Vinyl Garage Japan, so I ordered Tony a copy. Of course, I have a copy.
Well, I did an A-B comparison when I first got this from John, because I have an original. This is not a Paul record that you see in the wild. I don't think it sold as much as his early
record,
stuff,
though.
but it's a great record. But the quality is so close to the original U.S., and it's just, usually sometimes the Japanese pressing would be so much better, it's quieter, or maybe it has less mid-range. But these two records, when I did an A-B maybe 10 years ago, very close. So I'm really happy to have this. And I didn't know about the label aspect.
Yeah, and the European has a European
and this is
polyphone
this
label,
is one I
believe.
got John when this came out.
Yeah, mine's still sealed.
Ram in
never
mono.
played.
The original white sleeve. Of course, what was the story? He gave these out as gifts,
Yeah.
right? Originally?
I never even opened mine. It's just a plain white label.
Just a plain, it's numbered. Show the camera. Just a plain white number, yeah.
I kept mine sealed. And at the time, that was the only, what's funny?
You kept yours sealed?
Mine's still sealed.
Oh, well, okay.
But I have a Japanese pressing, and I got Tony a Japanese pressing for Christmas.
Now, since we're on the subject of Paul, you guys may not know this, but Paul has a brother, and of course, like Mick's brother, Paul's brother decided to record. And here we have Mike McGear. Mike McGear.
I never heard of him. I didn't even know about this until today.
Produced by Paul McCartney. Mike McGear here is Paul's brother. Brian Ferry's Sea Breezes. What Do We Really Know by Paul Norton, by Paul and McGear. Leave It by Paul. Have You Got Problems by McCartney and McGear. So McCartney actually wrote with Elvis Costello,
yes,
his brother, and Lennon, and a few other people. But here's the back. I'll just hold it up. I think this is on Warner. And there's Paul on the bottom. Did you see that, John? Paul looking.
Oh, yeah.
Paul's on the bottom. And here's, it looks like Linda and maybe Paul's parents.
Wow.
Wow, look at that. Check it out. I'll hold it up.
I would not have known it. I have no idea who that was. I saw that in a pile. Who the heck is this guy?
Warner, here's the Warner sleeve. And it's a palm tree.
Yeah, that's a Burbank.
A Burbank, right?
Burbank
label.
So I came out in the mid late 70s.
Talk about this one.
Okay.
Denny Lane.
Another Denny Lane.
Yeah, another Denny Lane.
Okay.
These are just odds and sods. Thanks for watching and letting us show off our collection. And also, thanks for all the subs. If you haven't subbed, please consider it. I really need to say that, but that's what they tell us to say.
Holly
Days. Denny Lane. I met Denny Lane a few times. So he used to tour in New Jersey, so I got to see him up close. Used to chat. He was at shows I went to. So rest in peace, Denny. And of course, this cover, I love this cover. New York City, Soulful Road. The cover looks familiar, but I can't place it.
Well, I don't know. It reminds me of a place I've been to.
Yeah. And here's the back, and this is sealed. This is still sealed.
I think you gave me one of those.
I did. I think I gave you one. I think I bought whatever I saw one time, like at a thrift store for $1 each. I think we bought 5 or 6. Now here you see the Volkswagen 28 if on that Volkswagen. We were all there, and we've got Paisley. This is a bootleg, John. You can talk about that.
Yes. That's the classic image from Magical Mystery Tour.
And this has Shrink on it.
I don't know
what this sounds like because I don't remember. I'm showing you the label, but it's a drawing. It's in really nice condition.
Some of these bootlegs sound pretty good.
Yeah, I know.
A lot of them don't. Every once in a while,
I stayed away from bootlegs, and now you don't see them anymore.
I don't only buy bootlegs. If it's part of a horde.
This is actually just a
bootlegs,
mimeographed sheet on a white sleeve. John, talk about that next one.
1965 Ed Rudy U.S. Tour, Gear and Fab.
And that's autographed by Ed Rudy.
Wow. All right, you talk about this.
Well, what this is one of the first kind of Beatle ripoffs when Ed Rudy would talk to the Beatles, like interviews. The Beatles would interview with everybody. This is 65, so this is all interviews. But Ed Rudy was a famous talk show DJ / promoter, and this is called the Beatles Great American Tour. I think there's 3 or 4 different LPs of this genre here, and this is U.S. Tour. This is documentary number 3 on the radio pulse beat, and Ed Rudy actually autographed that, so I thought that was pretty cool to bring out. And the back is I actually have a flyer that goes with it, which is hard to find, and there's the back of just news clippings.
You
So
see
pretty
the
cool.
label on
Yeah.
that one. Show them the label.
I'll show the label. I need to put this in a better sleeve. It's a really hard vinyl. It's a really hard. If I drop this, it would crack. It's almost. It feels like shellac. But Ed Rudy with New U.S. Tour Volume 3. Doesn't even say Beatles on it. It's probably unauthorized, I would think. But they're available on eBay. There's some YouTube videos from Beatle people that talk about it, so it's pretty cool. John, you know the next one. You can talk about that.
Oh, yes.
I pulled that out. That's a great
Now
one.
and then, this was released
Last year, right?
Yeah, 2023, I believe. It has Love Me Do on one side and Now and Then on the other. Love Me Do on the original Parlophone.
Now, this was all, as you know,
label.
just for people who don't, Peter Jackson was able to take a cassette and with his new technology that he developed for the Get Back series, the Let It Be epic he did on Disney, he was able to isolate instruments and it sounds as if it was recorded yesterday. I pulled this out because it's Easter today, which we didn't mention, but look at that.
Yeah,
That's,
beautiful 2i Columbia.
But look at the cover.
Yeah, it's 3D lenticular.
Yeah.
Like Satanic Majesty's Request.
Right.
This is
And
Johnny
this is mint.
Cash's.
This is mint. Usually this is scarred up because it's very
You
fragile.
never see these.
Yeah.
Never see
And
those.
now we're going back to John Paul George. This is Beatles number 5, but this is the Beatles Forever series. John had the other one, John. You
Yeah.
want to pick that up?
Yeah, just,
And
See?
you can see the...
he did an.
Yeah.
Tony did an extensive.
I did a whole
piece
video on this.
Right, on that.
Right. Now we're getting back to Beatles and John again. Elephant's Memory, Plastic Ono Band. This is on Apple.
The
And-
live? What is
No,
that?
this is a studio record, I believe. I haven't listened to it in a while. Paul and John and Yoko produced it. I think John Peel is on this record as well. But look at that cover. And it's on a beautiful Apple. Never really near mint. But you don't have this?
No.
Yeah. It's got a hole punch. When Apple went out of business, at my record shop, I was able to
Apple
go to
never went on a capital EMI.
Well, Apple was discontinued at one time, and they were selling all their American apples. So I was able to get this as a cutout. And then we have the typical picture disc, which was pretty common for Sgt. Pepper's. Not common at the time. So everyone I know really has one of these.
we all got one as a Christmas present the year it came
Right.
out.
And then here is another bootleg with Wings Wildlife. But what's interesting, it's Wings Wildlife, but it has a picture of John on the cover. so those guys, the Russians who actually bootleg this, or whoever, or the Italians, or whoever, whatever country, figured, well, Wildlife Wings, that must be John Lennon. So I think that's pretty cool. So I pull that out.
I gotta look at this
Yeah.
label.
Yeah.
Yep. RRR.
We're just talking. You want to come? Okay, well, thanks a lot. Keep rocking, and we hope to see you soon. Don't forget to subscribe, if you can, to Tony's LPSRUS. And happy holidays. Hope everyone's doing well. We'll see you later. Ciao. Thanks, John. Good job.